and timely.
All right, now she's not a new face to you. You've seen her, you've heard of her. She is the Roots Party presidential running mate. Justina Wamae joins me here in studio tonight. Here on the Spotlight, what do we seek to do? We seek to shine a spotlight on her as a running mate when it comes to this election, and also the manifesto that her party is actually fronting for you Kenyans to actually vote for her. So she's not a new face. She is Justina Wamae. Thank you so much for making time for this show tonight.
And for having me.
All right.
Yes.
Now, I like I said, you're not a new face, and I think people know you exactly ever since you did the debate. I think you're not a new face and you're not a new name to Kenyans. But before we do that, before we actually, probably for somebody who might actually have a doubt, and exactly, hey, who is being hosted tonight, probably a small intro from you.
Hello Kenyans, my name is Justina Wamae Wambui, Roots Party presidential running mate. And we are the ones who are seeking to legalize and regulate marijuana.
Okay.
I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and now I'm a politician.
Okay.
Yes.
You're now a politician.
Yes.
Let's talk about this political journey for you.
Yes.
You are here on this stage, going against people that probably you've seen when you're growing up, you've been seeing them in the political arena. For you, you are a youth. What is this moment for you? How do you feel about it?
I feel very humbled, given that the youth are now the minority in terms of, the majority in terms of population. So I feel I should represent them well.
Okay.
I should put them on a light that is showing that the youth are competent. Remember, in this election, many youth are running for various positions. So it is upon me to make the people, the voters, realize that youth are just not jokers. Youth are people who can perform. And that is why I'm really performing well, trying to show them that we have so much competency. It is the opportunity that we are lacking.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go back to what is driving you right now, apart from just being a youth. This must be something behind it. What is it that is driving you, that is saying, now this is my moment, I have to be on the ballot, and I want people to elect me? It's something that is pushing you to actually wake up and go campaign and tell people, by the way, this is what we plan to do for you once you give us that mandate.
What is driving me, Brian, is the fact that I've ever been unemployed. Actually, I've never been formally employed all my life since I graduated from school. And then my parents, who took out loans to educate me, have never gotten their return on investment.
Okay.
That is a story that is shared across the country, devoid of tribe. All parents have invested in educating their children, but their children have never been employed because there is no employment as it is. And that goes to indicate where our poverty level is high, why our cost of living is high. Life in Kenya is becoming very unbearable. So what drives me is the fact that Roots Party is telling Kenyans that fimbo ya mbali haiui nyoka. Fimbo ya karibu is the land that we have, the land that we've moved from the rural to urban, seeking jobs, and there are no jobs. It is incumbent of us to go back to the village and make use of the land. So that is what drives me, because we want to put money on the hands of Kenyans.
Okay.
Yes.
Talking about putting money on the hands of Kenyans, right now people are looking at the state of the economy and how they're living right now, and they're so distraught with that. People are very disappointed, we'll say, and hungry and angry at the same time. You as a party and as a leader that seeks to, come into power and probably offer a solution, what will be the one thing that you actually, as a party and as a pair, you and your presidential candidate actually do for the people when it comes to that?
Roots is actually thinking beyond. We are being told that Ukraine, the effect of the Ukraine war is affecting us. But even if it is affecting us, do we just sit down and say, we have given up? That is why Roots has come up with a new policy on that we should legalize and regulate marijuana for export and marijuana for local economies. Okay. What we are focusing on is that we want to change our economy from an importation economy to an exportation economy. Marijuana is a versatile plant, and there are two species. Our focus is not cannabis sativa that usually see people arrested by DCI. Our focus is cannabis or industrial hemp. Okay. This is used over 9 sectors: plastic, paper, food, beverage, medicine, construction, fiber for cars. So we are trying to look at how economies can come up, how we can revive pan paper. Remember, pan paper used to give us our own paper, but because of the logging law, they do not have raw material for paper. This industrial hemp can make that paper, and we are going to grow economies that are going to employ our people, so that we can widen the tax base in terms of people who are taxed, and also widen the tax base in terms of corporates that are taxed. So that means we are going to lower the tax rate for Kenyans, we are going to pay off the debt for Kenyans, and we are going to shun donor funding because we feel it is the reason why as a country we are not respected.
Okay, now just before I get into the details of that, what will be the time frame of this if we decide now, we give you the opportunity to actually take this country to the next level and to say now immediately, is it something that we say, okay, it's going to take this period of time in actually to have this done and probably pay our debts and all that?
Our idea is very quantifiable. Kenya is 144 million in acres. 10% is classified as government land. That means 14 million acres is government land and reserve. But we just need, for example, one pilot project, that is Kulalu Galana, 1 million acre project. If we have marijuana or industrial hemp or that Kulalu Galana, we can easily pay our debt within 3 years, 6 months. As opposed to what has been written now, that we are going to pay our debt between 2021 and 2035. So 3 years, 6 months, Kulalu Galana alone, that is leaving 13 million acres of government idle, will be done in 3 years, 6 months. But if we activate that all land in government is put to industrial hemp, only in 4 months we'll have done all, we'll have paid off our debt.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's look at now making people, because this initially when you suggested this as a party and said this is exactly what we plan to do, we plan to legalize marijuana, a lot of people dismiss that as something that it cannot work in this country. And some say, now this probably, it's a joke. How exactly do you come with such on the presidency and want to be president and say you want to legalize marijuana? People citing issues to do with their kids and all that. There is this communication that probably has not gotten to the people on exactly what you plan to do when it comes to that. Because people are looking at that and they are like, okay, if we legalize marijuana, then everybody else will be walking in the country high.
What we believe is that Kenyans are generally happy people. And they make jokes or enjoy jokes out of everything and anything. But what you're telling Kenyans, and thank you, Brian, for this opportunity, because I know you have viewers who are watching. The marijuana we are talking about is not cannabis sativa. We are talking about industrial hemp, a species or a cousin of cannabis sativa. It grows with very large leaves because its end product is the fiber. But the cannabis sativa has very small leaves. So we have control measures. Number one, we have CARI, we have KEFIs, who will manage the seed of CBD. That is the seed that will be sold across the country for farmers. Recommended government seed is CBD. We are going to recall or bring back the agricultural officers who will be inspecting what Kenyans are doing. So if anyone thinks they'll be wiser than the government, the agricultural officers will call them out, and even Kenyans can call them out because of the structural differences of this marijuana. Sativa is very small, industrial hemp is very big. We're going to issue licenses to farmers so that we can know who is doing what. We have to monitor them. And for the public land marijuana, like what Professor says on the expressway that you're going to grow marijuana, we are going to recall back all NYS who have graduated and do not have work to man that marijuana, because it might go the fate of the avocados that are stolen. So we want Kenyans to understand that we are not here for purposes of consumption. We are here to use a versatile plant, which is industrial hemp, that will be able to spur our economy through industrialization.
Okay. Now, it looks like something new and something unachievable in the country. When you explain it, people will look at it and say, okay, maybe it can be done. But they're conservative. I believe this country is a very conservative country. And some of the things that you propose are probably rearing of snakes and, legalizing of marijuana, exporting of dog meat and all that, hanging of the people that are actually corrupt. Most of these things go against what a lot of Kenyans will say they believe in.
But even if we believe in something, we have to change. And this election is a very decisive moment. We realize that what Roots Party is trying to tell Kenyans, that there are other alternatives of making money, there are other alternatives of using as raw material. One time Bitange Demo said that what ails the entrepreneurship culture in this country is that we all go to the same direction in terms of investment. We are not creative in terms of investment. So we are giving Kenyans an opportunity that over and above the maize, the beans, the dairy farming, you can grow industrial hemp. And by the industrial hemp can be used to make animal feed. Remember, we have a milk shortage because animal feed prices have gone up. The farmer is not able to really satisfy the cows so that they can produce dairy milk. So animal feed and chicken feed will be available at a lower cost because industrial hemp is available. So we are going to even boost the dairy farming, the chicken farming, the egg farming. Instead of importing eggs from Uganda, we'll have our own eggs that are available. So what Roots Party is trying to show Kenyans, even snakes as an income generating activity. And that one you're licensed by KWS. They'll come and inspect your premises. If you express interest, they'll give you a license. They'll train you on how to keep the snakes and where to get the snakes and for what purposes. So our idea as Roots Party is to tell Kenyans there are other alternatives of making money besides expecting that your tea will do good. And remember, declining global prices is affecting us as a country. So what do? You have to go with the going concern, or what is the competitive advantage. If China itself that is lending us money is growing industrial hemp, why not us?
All right, now let's look at how do I put it? I think, just like you said, for me, the public might not get that communication. And how do you then, as a people, then convince them that this is exactly what we want to do with you, probably not exactly what you think, and then have them actually vote for you?
We engage them mostly on the campaign trails. We have very many dialogue meetings and town hall meetings with them. And even this is an opportunity for me to explain to Kenyans exactly what we do. And let me tell you, before we talk to someone, Brian, they come here very excited and they do this. They're thinking it's a smoking affair. But by the time we are leaving, they're all converted and they see the purpose of industrial hemp. And we told them categorically that anyone who attempts to grow cannabis sativa, we are going to be very firm on them. We are going to jail them because they are doing against what government is required of them. And I'm happy because Kenyans, when they listen, they are good people. They are happy and they say, as long as you're going to make money, why not? So we are continuing engaging them. And I even take this opportunity to tell them that we enjoy your support over the campaign trail. Now it's time to convert the support into votes.
All right. Now let's look at the issue of hanging people that are corrupt, because this is a country that every now and then we hear, oh, so a lot of money has been lost due to corruption and there are cartels that run the country. How do we deal with that? And the issue of hanging actually doesn't sit well with people.
Corruption stems from scarcity of opportunities. As we sit now, in Kenya, the only lucrative employment is going to parliament or being in politics. That is why you see many people sell their houses and invest in politics, and then when they get to politics, they have to recoup or return the money they spent during campaigns. But if there are opportunities like growing of marijuana, rearing of snake for anti-venom, meat and skin, even the hyenas and the dog meat, people will have opportunities to make money besides politics. So one, we are giving Kenyans an opportunity to make money away from being in politics or away from knowing a politician who will give you a very big tender that will aid corruption. Number two, we are saying because people need to be, fear needs to be instilled. We need to show this younger generation that hard work pays. We need to return the respect that it's not just about being a dealer or wash guy, that you're making money and other people look like they're not doing anything. We have to instill fear. And how can this be done? You have to go through the judicial process. Once you're found to be corrupt, clearly you're going to be hanged for purposes of instilling fear. Number two, we are going to remunerate well the police and the judges so that they are not tempted to take the kickback or money to protect you. Number four, we want the Kenyan, we are going to return the loyalty pledge. You know, those are things that we left a while back, but it used to have so much. It was like, in addition to the national anthem, we used to have the loyalty pledge, what you wished as a child for Kenya ahead of you. Those are the things we are going to do to change, to have a culture change in this country. All
right. I'd like to take us through the support base that you have currently, because we are talking about, and it seems to be dwindling, the opinion polls. We're looking at the opinion polls. We see IRS actually released one today and says you are at 1.2%. TIFA says 3 days ago it was at 1.8%, and in June it was at 4%. So it looks like if you're going with what TIFA is saying, your support base is actually dwindling. What would you attribute that to?
It depends on who has commissioned the polls.
So do you believe in the polls?
I do not. If it was a Roots Party commissioned poll, you'd see us as 55%.
So these polls, you don't believe
in our opinion, we just dispel the polls,
okay,
because we feel like we have supporters, we have people on the ground, we're explaining to them how we are going to make money, how we are going to cut taxes, pay off debt, and shun donor funding. I think these polls are not correct because we are not the ones who've commissioned.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now I'd like to ask a question here, a viewer, Anne Michael from Kasarani. She says, I would love to ask Miss Justina, says Jacinta, but it's Justina. What if they don't get the seat? Can they work with the winning government and implement their manifesto in helping paying the debt?
Thank you, Anne, for that question. And I'll say the interest of Kenyans is paramount, and we respect that power belongs to the people. So whoever wins and is willing to work with us, we shall work with them. Okay. Like I said, we have 14 million acres government land that is idle. So even if they say we can grow this marijuana in a restricted area for purposes of paying off the debt, cutting down taxes, that we shall do. We are willing to work with anyone as long as the interests of Kenyans are met.
Now he continues to say, it's Michael, continues to say, I love the agenda in paying the debt of which I paid cost of living will, I pray cost of living will go down, if paid rather, cost of living will go down, and food item prices will also go down. James from Mombasa said, I'm proud to see my deputy, Justina. That is, thank you. All right, now let's come back to something different. I want us to look at what we have in the country right now and what you think is the state of election. Are you comfortable with what we have currently? In regards to how the IEBC is conducting itself, and also just the question that they've been raising, because presidential candidates recently, you are invited to actually have dispelled some of the concerns you actually were raising in regards to whether this election is going to be free and fair. Are you comfortable with where we are right now? First,
I have to agree with Michael. The cost of food will go down because we'll have alternative flour from marijuana, which is white, not green. Kenyans will have cooking flour from marijuana once the seeds are compressed. Okay. But let me talk about IEBC. The culture we've had in this country is that people always fight the referee. Even when football goes wrong, you never see supporters fighting the referee, because that is a recipe for disaster. So from where I sit, I feel IEBC is doing a very good job. They have been consulting all participants and parties from the word go. And they even opened a media center just the other day for you to engage them, because they want to run a free and fair election. I even speak to recently on Friday, we had a very heated discussion regarding the Form 34A, whether we use booklet 1 or booklet 2, and all parties agreed. So where I sit, IEBC is very prepared. And we as politicians should not incite Kenyans that if you're defeated is because of IEBC. Let us compete on the basis of ideology and respect the person Kenyans will vote, who they'll feel compelled is listening to their interests. Okay. Yes. So with the IEBC, the referee, you are very comfortable that they are going to carry out a free and fair process? They will deliver, because they do not want to be blamed the same way they were blamed in 2017. Okay. Yes. Now, do you think that the concerns that your opponents have actually been raising in this campaign are actually legitimate? They are not legitimate, because it is good to understand what they are saying. After listening the campaign trail, then we met them on Friday. Do you know what politicians were saying is so different from what IEBC was saying? So I call upon my politicians and anyone we are competing with, can we let IEBC explain as it is? The challenge was, and I need to tell Kenyans, was that if you get a book that has an original copy and carbon copies, the more you get more copies beyond 7, there's a risk the last page will not be legible. So they had printed Form 34A1 as an original and then 5 below. So those are 6 pages. The risk of the carbonated one, the 6th page being illegible, they ended up printing a Form 34A2 in case you need that copy of the results. Because remember, there's the IEBC needs their copy. Okay. There are the 4 agents of the 4 presidential candidates. Those are 5. And then there's one where the rule says that one has to be placed on the door. Okay. Then there's the other copy that is put inside the ballot box and one on the ballot box. Right. That is where they had printed the second book. Okay. Yes. Now, let's look at something that a lot of people, political pundits, have actually been looking at and say that we could actually have a runoff. In the event that we would have a runoff in this election, who would you support? We'd support the one who will give us the 14 million acres of government land to experiment growth of marijuana, for export and local economies,
Right.
so that you can pay off the debt and lower the tax rate.
All right.
Yes.
So that is somebody that probably is going to buy into your manifesto and say, we can actually employ this.
Yeah, because all of them who they are saying are the horses have not told Kenyans where they are going to get their source of funding for projects. So that means they are going to increase taxes, they're going to increase debt, and you're going to get more donor funding, which is making us to be disrespected.
Okay.
So our idea is telling Kenyans how we are going to make the money.
Right.
So the one who buys into idea is the one we'll work with.
All right. Now, I'm running out of time. Totally, I'm out of time. But I'd like us to touch on this, what we have currently in the country, and that is the political temperatures that you're seeing and the language that is being used in the political rallies. And I know I've seen your party not using that, but your opponents actually using that. We've seen the deputy and the president actually engaging one another and rising temperatures when it comes to just emotions among Kenyans. What's your take on that?
I feel very disappointed because remember the two used to wear matching shirts and matching ties. They had a very good romance, so to speak. So in my mind, I'm wondering, what is this that happened that they hate each other? But I realized when they came into power, they felt like they were co-principals. Okay. One did not understand that I am the principal and the other one is my deputy. So I think that co-principalship is the reason why they have now fallen out. Okay. What I'll do different is that I know Professor George Ojakoya is the presidential candidate. I am his running mate. So my role is to deputize him, and also he's given me another role to amplify the voices of the women and the youth, so there won't be any conflict of interest because our work is clearly cut out. Okay.
So then right now, the political environment, does it scare you with what we are seeing in the political campaigns?
Yes, I'm very scared and I'm very worried because in 2007, my family and I were a victim of post-election violence in Kibera. I wouldn't want us to go that direction. So I'm just calling upon politicians, can we exercise restraint? Let us not raise the temperatures of Kenyans because as it is, the cost of living is depressing to Kenyans and Kenyans are just looking for somewhere they can explode. Let us maintain peace because this country beyond elections will still be there. But we might grapple with the challenges of post-election violence if you're not careful.
All right. Now, you say you are a victim of the post-election violence, that is in 2007. So when you see some of these rhetorics happening in the political arena, what does that do to you?
It really shakens me.
Considering the fact that you're actually in the race itself.
It really worries me. Let me tell you, we ran away at night without anything. And then remembering that your neighbor is against you really brings back those emotions. So for me, I'm very careful. I do not want to annoy anyone. And that is why we are on our case as a Roots Party, we are focusing on the legalization of industrial hemp. We are trying to show Kenyans that our politics is not of personality, is not of what happened in the past. Our politics is ideologically, we are focusing on the ideology, on an economic upswing. So for us, we're even intensifying our campaign and telling Kenyans that we are here to diffuse the temperatures. Okay.
There's this perception and notion that is out there and saying, okay, the Roots Party came in order to, they are sponsored so that they want to destroy, or do something to one particular side of the political divide when it comes to votes, ruin the votes of that part of the political divide. What do you say to that when people say you're actually a project or a sponsored?
Let me look into Kenya's eyes and tell them that we are not a project of anybody. If we were a project, we'll be having so much money. Some of you are the ones who support us in terms of fuel, in terms of food, in terms of where we sleep. So clearly we are not a project. But Brian, let me ask you, who owns Kenyans' votes? The votes are owned by individual Kenyans who will cast their vote where they feel compelled. So this idea of saying that this one owns this constituency, this one owns this age group is a fallacy. We are here telling you that we have a very good idea on how you can have cash in hand as a Kenyan.
All right, I'd like to take some feedback here as we wind up. Wycliffe Ndimuli watching live Monday News. Thank you so much. Victor Charlo says, watching from Feather Estate of Akasi Wajakoya and Justina Duo is the superhero we need and deserve. David Bhatia, great political future for Justina. For now, she is at the right place at the right time with the wrong person. That is the presidential. What did they say to that?
Dear Kenyans, our idea is one ticket, me and Professor. So you cannot say Justina is good and I'm in the wrong place. I am in the right place at the right time, and this is a time where you Kenyans should choose the right person to take you ahead.
Okay. What if somebody believes that you are the right person and probably your candidate is not the right person?
And why would they say that? And the way Professor has been fighting for the rights of this country. And Professor has the global exposure and is bringing that for the local experiences. So I feel I am in the right place. Let me tell you, Brian, and the one who has brought in this idea, if I was in the bigger parties, they know what they did to me in 2017. They do not give chances to a youth. If they were youth responsive, they would be having a running mate who is a youth. But they're out for big money and what you've done. Roots Party is the right place for all youths in this country because we are no longer viongozi wa kesho, we are viongozi wa hivi sasa.
Right. Wanjiru Agosha says, good evening, Brian Okechamwa and Justina watching from Elbagon. Thank you so much. Sesmo Time says, good conversation here. Irungu Omugo says, good evening. These are the leaders we want. She needs to be given a chance. Kiara Gosha says, watching from Ruaka, and I'm interested with how Justina reasons and explains her points. Thank you so much. Justina's statement of making money is great, but think of a common Mwananchi access to hyena testicles. Areas that have hyena are inaccessible. Huh?
Let me explain. There was another day in Limuru that hyenas left the forest. They came to the, someone's homestead and they killed goats and everything. Okay. That shows you that these are the weak hyenas that cannot survive in the forest. They're coming to attack the Mwananchi. Our idea is what was done in South Africa. South Africa, they had so many elephants that there was scarcity of food, they ended up killing each other. Instead of a hyena being killed by the other one, let us make use of what they have. There are markets, Somalia, Morocco, China, they consume this meat. Similarly, what South Africa did, they killed those elephants, the weak ones, they sold the tusks and made money. So that is the idea. We are not out to kill the hyenas, we are out to remove the weak ones so that they stop having human-wildlife conflict, a process called culling.
Right. James Kinyua here says, this lady is an intellect. She deserves a chance. Kenya needs a breath of fresh air. All right.
Thank you, James.
Thank you so much, Justina. I am out of time. And probably just your final remarks as we wind up this discussion.
Kenyans who love us, Kenyans who we are here to convert, this time we are telling you that we want to convert your support to votes. Please vote for Roots Party because we are the only party who knows where we are going to get funding for our project. And we assure you we are going to have agents in all the 46,229 polling stations across the country. People who want to support us are volunteering. Send your details to me on inbox Facebook and we're going to put your name there so that we can call you. So don't be afraid to vote for Roots Party kwa sababu kura yako italindwa.
All right. In an event we don't win, are we accepting defeat?
Yes, we are going to accept because the first article in the Constitution says that power belongs to the people. Who are we when the Kenyans have spoken?
All right. Right, that is Justina Wamae, the running mate, Roots Party, presidential running mate, Roots Party. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. We are out of time. This is The Spotlight. My name is Brian Amwai. Let's do this again next time. Have yourselves a wonderful night.